What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Hope you're all doing well today. We are going to be playing a track that generally could be younger, well, not younger, sorry, it generally could be older than some of you young folks that watch these videos. This track is called Savannah, and it is a track from way back in the day, from originally MX versus ATV Unleashed. This was the very first Supercross track in the game, probably the easiest Supercross track in the game as well in terms of overall layout. But because of that, it was the track that I think a lot of people would have played the most. And there's some just insane world record videos on this track from MXOS ATV Unleashed from back in the day on YouTube already. I thought it'd be interesting to just give it a go in this game. And I didn't realise, I know it's obviously quite a simple track in terms of layout overall. I didn't realise it is literally just 3 lanes. And that's it. And then this little connecting bit on the side. So this is track created by Too Nasty. It is his very first track creation in the game. And I've actually thrown this track up on my server for once to get some other people riding around here with me. So it shouldn't just be myself in testing for once. So it should make things a little bit more interesting. And I'm going to just ride around, hopefully get a nice flow going. And at the same time, just talk about OEM stuff so far as well. Because I've done a bunch of streaming the last 2-3 days. And want to just give my thoughts after basically probably like 10 or so hours now of riding these bikes. So one thing that I have seen many people asking me already is which bike is best in both 250 and 450. And I do just want to start off by saying I am not a 250 rider at all. So even if I did ride a bunch of 250s, in my opinion, it's probably not the best one to go to. However, I have ridden a total of 2 laps on the KTM 250. And that is it. I've ridden no other 250 bike at all. And I wasn't a big fan of the KTM. However, people that do ride the 250s more than I have said that they really enjoy the Kawi. I've seen people saying they enjoy the Honda. I've seen quite a lot of people saying they're really enjoying the Yamaha, specifically the 2025 Yamaha. So definitely give those a go if you're a 250 rider. On the 450 side of things, I do have a little bit more experience on them. Some of these jumps are a lot bigger than I expected. You will see all of yesterday's stream. Actually, no, all of the day before yesterday's stream, I was rocking this Fantic 450 right here. Now, I don't believe the Fantic is the fastest 450 in terms of raw speed. I believe that title is still held by the KTM. However, the KTM, because of that speed and because of how the new traction works on these bikes, unless you are very good at the game, it can be a little bit hard to control sometimes and very slippy. So then that extra power ends up being a negative thing for you as well, and you actually end up losing time compared to gaining it. So I've done a whole bunch of riding in solo testing around Hurren's latest Baja Brawl release, and I found that even though I could get a one-off lap on the KTM that was quicker than all of the other bikes for me, it was a much sketchier of a lap and a lap that I couldn't replicate time and time again. However, on the Fantic so far for me, I can be about half a second off that KTM lap, but do that lap time over and over again consistently. So I'm not saying the Fantic is the best bike by any means, but in terms of the 2 days that we've had these bikes and played them so far, there's a level of comfortability on the Fantic that I really enjoy. That is speaking from a motocross perspective. When you take it indoors and you go to Supercross, however, I don't like the Fantic quite as much. It's not... maybe not as nimble as you would like to be in Supercross. So on the Supercross side of things, I'm quite enjoying the Husky. I really enjoyed the Husky last year as well in Supercross. It was my main Supercross bike. Probably helps that I do have a setup on it. It's the same setup that I was running last year in SX. I just changed the tyres so you don't get any of the weird ejected for cheating glitches going on. And it's kind of done me quite well. In terms of other good bikes, you'll see a lot of people riding the Kawasaki 450 at the moment. A lot of people are enjoying it, where it's slightly slower in terms of power than most of the other bikes, but that makes it really stable and smooth and a good vibe watching if people are struggling with the new throttle control. Suzuki's okay, Honda's okay. I wasn't a big fan of the Yamaha 450 at all, but I've seen some of the other top boys really enjoying it. So I don't really think this could be one of the first times where we don't, at least not yet, maybe in a month's time this might change. I don't think we have a 100% clear standout, this bike is the fastest meta bike and that's it. I think so far the OEM team have done a very good job of balancing things. And just where we do have that less traction now compared to previous OEMs, it's not just a case of, okay, this bike is the fastest in case of the KTM 450. It will be the most OP because you can still get all of the grip with all that speed as well. There is pros and cons to each that I've seen and found so far, and it's been a really enjoyable experience just trying to learn the game. And I said that some people say that, oh, if it's not broke, don't fix it, etc. But I quite enjoy things being changed up. It's probably because of the amount of time I've spent on the game in general. You know, if you play any game for almost 4,000 hours, you might get a bit burnt out on it and want some changes eventually. And I kind of see it in the same way that when a new Call of Duty drops each year, people always try and find what the best guns and best tactics are in that way. When new FIFAs drop each year, you try and find what's the best type of shooting to score the most goals in that regards. And I just see it as something very similar to that, where every year or so we'll get a different kind of bikes, different kind of physics, and I always feel like the cream will always rise to the top, you know? Like, whoever the best players are at any given time, I still think they're going to be the best players after a month of playing on the bikes. You might get one or two people that these bikes really, really suit that start like coming up and doing a lot better than they used to. And on the same side, you might get one or two people that were really good on the Beta 18 OEM bikes that aren't so good on these ones. But I still think it's just going to be a case of, in a week's time, everyone's going to have forgotten what the old traction was like anyway. Everyone will be used to these, and we'll be back to like nothing has happened. One thing that was very, very impressive is the day that these bikes released, MX Bikes hit a new all-time high player count of 4,500 people. And I think before that, it hadn't been in the 4,000s before. I want to say it was like mid to high 3,000s. So that was a big old W, massive moment for the game as well, which is really, really cool. And that kind of reflected on the live stream as well. We had a good like 400 to 500 people consistently throughout that. So massive W to everyone that showed up for that. Same with the MX Bikes and Nations as well. Everyone was a big old W there, so it was really nice to see. And we've had a really, really good last few days, I think. It's been really enjoyable. And it's the first time in a long time that I've been able to sit down and play this game for like 4 or 5 hours without there being a proper race, and thoroughly enjoyed myself. If anyone is familiar of the track Rust, created by Stone Rider, it's a free supercross track. Last night, myself and Aiden were just battling so much on it, because now you have the ability to cut underneath people, like cut down in the bowl turns. Don't know if I'll do a good example here, but you can come in tight, slam on the brakes, get the back end spun around, and go again. Whereas in the past, the only option you had in bowl turns was to enter it right at the beginning, rally it all the way around the outside, and then exit on the outside as well. Well, because of the slipperier tyres now, that's not the only way around the corner. I would go as far to say that it might even be quicker to go into the corner, slam on the brakes, cut down, and exit again. Because the more time you can spend on the middle of the tyre rather than the side of the tyre, the more grip you're going to have. And I just really enjoy it. It's a mechanic that we've never been able to enjoy in the game before. If you tried doing this on any of the previous OEM bikes, regardless of what year it was, whether it's like OEM, like Beta 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, if you slammed on the brakes too hard, the bike would just do a full one, like 360 on you. It wouldn't be a controlled slide. Or if then you tried getting on the power really hard coming out of the corner to initiate the slide as well, it would do it too much and it wouldn't grip at any certain point. So for everyone that has been a bit disappointed by these bikes, or they prefer the grippier bikes, I also feel like we do need to commend what the OEM team have done well. The tyres, the actual overall model of it, and how the bikes spin around in these bowl turns is really, really good. The front ends on these bikes are better than they ever have been. I've had maybe 2 weird front end tucks in the 10 hours or so of playing on these, and even that, they was only on the Husky 450. I haven't had that on any other bike happen to me. The scrubbing feels great, just because the back tyre's a bit slipperier, you can really toss it harder than ever before. And in the air, the bikes feel nice and nimble as well. It feels like you can place them where you want them to go. There's just the occasional like change that you'll have to make to your riding. So for me, having the game for 4 years and basically sitting in the middle to the back of the bike in every corner, you can't really do that anymore. You can do it, and you can kind of get away with it, but I don't think it's going to be the fastest way. You really need to focus on like leaning forwards in the corners now, like sitting right up on the tank, weighting the outside peg at the same time if you can, just to get the maximum traction and the maximum drive. So it's a massive, massive difference. The muscle memory is going out the window day by day, trying to learn a new way of playing the game, and I generally do think they've done a good job all around. And I know it's it might be a bit of a biased opinion, because I get the most enjoyment in this game from like racing the professional scene rather than just casual public lobby playing. But I think the professional racing is only going to benefit from these bikes, and just having the option to cut underneath people and dive to the inside. Like if I wanted to, if someone's in the corner here, I can dive all the way to the inside, slam on the brakes, get the bike stopped and turn around, much better than I ever could before. And it opens the door for so many possibilities, especially in Supercross. I have found the only time I really notice the traction difference right now is on flat ground. If you are on a particularly rough or bumpy outdoors track, for example, the traction feels almost identical, because anytime you're in a rut, the middle of your tyre is being used rather than the side. It's only in flat turns that it does get a little bit sketchy. So if you are one of the more casual players and you spend most of your time playing tracks like Forest or Farm 14 or the Old Walnut, for example, you will probably feel these effects more, and I have a feeling that might be where the vocal minority of people that really dislike it are coming from. Whereas when you then get slightly higher up in terms of track difficulty or just skill level players in general, it seems to be a lot more level of enjoyment. So hopefully people can adjust to it over time. And I've said I went to be one of them little Karens on Facebook as well, and went to complain at other people the other day. I just said, listen, if you don't like the bikes, you have the following options. You can either learn to be good with the throttle control, which you didn't have to be before on 250s or 450s, but you do now. You can either download the factory bikes, you can download the A-Kit bikes, you can make your own bikes, or you can go and play MX Simulator, which I would still say MX Simulator is harder of a game than this game is in its current state anyway. So those are your options, unfortunately, and it's kind of, you have to deal with what you've got. It's not going to suit everybody, but I do think people like to complain too soon, I would say. Just give it some time, you know, give it some time, and try and have some fun with it as well. It's generally some of the most fun battles, even in the last 2 days, I've ever had on the game. So all that waffling and ranting over, I do apologise for going on a little bit of a tangent there, but those are my overall thoughts on the OEMs. This Savannah track does bring back some good memories. I would say 1 or 2 bits might be a little bit different, like the little rollers there before this triple, I think are a little bit on the small side. But you have to remember, this is Too Nasty's first ever track as well in this game, and I didn't realise until... So what I do is I'll download these tracks, put them in my game, and then just before I start recording, I'll quickly go and check like who the track creator was and quickly read the description of it. Didn't realise that he credited me for the tutorial video, so big shout out to Mr. Too Nasty. I'm glad that those videos could help you out in any way possible. And it seems to be a very enjoyable track, and he said himself, since it's his first track, he wanted it to be nice and simple, and Savannah does have a really simple track layout overall. I don't know, I'm guessing if he followed my tutorials, this is probably Matt Robb's Supercross template. The berms feel absolutely fine. It doesn't matter really that they're not super banked and you can't rail them 4th gear pinned anymore, because that's not the way of going around berms anymore, so you can go in and cut down if you want to. The triples are quite big, a big old jump to be fair. I think you might struggle on a 250 out of some of these corners, but for the 450 it feels really, really nice. And it does just kind of throw back to some good old memories of riding the 500cc bikes on MX vs ATV Unleashed, and I do feel old sometimes when I play this game, especially with some of the youngsters that I have to compete with nowadays. If I just to get a general sample size, I know that I can go based off like YouTube analytics, for example, but I think a lot of younger people would probably lie about their age on YouTube channel creation anyway, like saying they're over 18 or whatever. How old are you if you're watching this? I'm genuinely curious, because this game, I don't know when Unleashed came out at this point. It's got to be like 15 years ago or something crazy like that. But are you under 15? If so, the fact that we are playing a track that is older than you baffles me. It really, really does. And the fact that 15 years ago, the arcadey type games that we was getting, like the MX vs ATV games, were more fun than the games that we're getting these days is ridiculous. The state of motocross games at the moment is just insane. If you're a console gamer, I feel so sorry for you. You really have been dealt a really poo hand, whereas the PC side of things, having bikes and having sim, is just an absolute godsend. I watched the 30-second trailer of the MXGP 2024 game. It looks absolutely hot dog water. Here we go, it's a good example. Let me try and cut in, slam on the brakes, cut down, accelerate on the exit. There you go, look, nice passing opportunity rather than just having to rail the outside. Oh god, where's this bike going? Hello, Price. Good to see Price in here. Oh, by the way, Price is working on an enduro cross track or series overall that I've seen, and I've seen some screenshots right now. It looks very, very juicy. No idea when that is looking to be completed or ran, but my god, I'm very excited for that. I want to try and do a Krakenberg live stream at some point. It might have even happened before you see this video. It all depends on the day of the upload. But I've been told that with the new tyres, especially on like soil and compact soil, which a lot of Krakenberg is built on, it's grippier than the old tyres used to be. So I'm very, very excited to give that a go. Because Krakenberg's, I would throw it up there as potentially being my favourite track of all time. You need to use track in like in commas, you know, in inverted speech marks, whatever it might be, because it is a track, but it's not a track. But it's my favourite experience on this game, and that experience kind of got tainted more and more as game updates and bike updates came out, and essentially made the track unrideable with the traction. Resolute Kraken, the track creator, has said he doesn't have any desire to go back and remaster that track to make the grip different. So we was kind of stuck with what we had. So I'm hoping that it's much more rideable now. Now we just need to fix the game crashes from hitting certain collisions, because I feel like game crashes have got worse and worse as the years have gone on as well. So I'm not sure what that's all about. But good stuff. I'm excited. I really, really am. It's kind of given me a new, not a fire, it's not the right word. That just sounds hella cringy. But it's given me like a new reason and a new purpose to want to play the game more. You have to remember that playing this video game is my job, and imagine how many hours you do from like a normal 9 to 5, add them up, I was like 40 hours for the week. I was only averaging 15 to 20 hours every 2 weeks on this game, just because I'd hop on for 30 minutes, record, and then be done. I didn't even want to stream the game, but now really, really exciting. I love learning new things and trying to be as good as possible at something that I can be. So I'm happy. Again, can be biased opinions because of what I like out of my games, but hopefully people are getting to grips with it. And if you do want to test the bikes out in full servers that aren't on your regular public lobby tracks, then by all means feel free to stop by on any of my live streams. So we've been having some really, really fun races all around. You see, just like this. Like, look at this little battle we're having on here. People diving up the inside of each other. Oh, but stretch that. Oh god, that finish line jump is huge. We're going 3 wide into this corner now. I'm going to try and get on the brakes. Slam on the brakes, cut underneath. Oh, this is just stuff like this. It would usually be follow leader, but now we can go anywhere in these bowl turns and try and make passes on people. I absolutely love it. I thought that bike was going to roll further than it did, so I was trying to brake and dive underneath. But oh, everyone's crashing, everyone's dying. Right, too nasty. Track's very, very enjoyable. Nice and simple, straightforward, very good. Just first track for you to release. I'm glad that the tutorials helped you, and hopefully we can see some bigger and more advanced things coming from you in the future. But thank you for giving me a little bit of nostalgia as well. Very good job, well done. To everyone watching this, as always, thank you very much. The support overall on the last few live streams has been incredible. So hopefully we can keep that rolling all the way through onto 2025. I think we're going to have a very, very good year ahead. So we'll keep our fingers and our toes crossed for some more good stuff to come. If you enjoyed this video, then by all means, please do drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. It's always very much appreciated. And have a lovely rest of the day, whatever you're up to. I will catch you all in the next video. Peace.
Lynn's in the zone, never backing down. Riding MX bikes, he's the talk of the town. 2022 champ with a YouTube crown. His game is tight, no signs of slowing down. Late nights, bright lights, he's chasing that fame in the digital arena. Writing his name, she's a 10 out of 10. Supporting his lane, hairline might receive, but his passion's the same.